Okay, I had to take a couple days off, wait for brackets for the alternator. I'm also waiting for brackets for the power steering pump, but that's another day. Right now, I'm just looking at changing out the bracket for the alternator because I thought I could reuse the one from the 69 for the conversion, but turns out they're just slightly different. The lower brackets are almost identical, almost. This one's a little bit shorter and it's shaped a little different. You can see it's rounded there and it's has a sharp edge there. That doesn't really matter though. What did make a big difference is because I'm using a later style water pump, there's a extra mounting boss or whatever you want to call it on the pump, and this would actually bolt onto just one of the longer bolts that hold the pump on itself. This actually bolts onto a separate bolt right here, and they make a larger hole so this clears the bolt that goes around. Just sits right there, and I can show you. Because there's how where it originally would have mounted, but now it's made to is originally mounted right there with the 69 bolts. But now that we got this newer style pump, they have it mounted here, and that actually sits about a quarter of an inch further out, so you can't really use the other bracket unless you're willing to cut it up, and I don't like hacking brackets, so I just ordered these off of eBay for $65, and it should just sit right in place. Everything else in the conversion's gone well so far. I wasn't sure about the timing pointer because I didn't really think about it until I started putting on how my balancer was going to fit or not, but it does. So the stock 69 pointer will work out fine. I marked the pulleys. It looks crooked in the picture, but it's not cold. Well, maybe it's crooked, but I'm not. Either way, I'll just correct that. But anyways, I lined it up like that because the pointer kind of covers the balancer, so I'd have a little bit of trouble timing it. So I'm just going to try marking it like this along the edges of the pulleys, so I can time it, because I did put in a double roller timing chain, and I don't know what these guys did when they rebuilt the motor, but they put in cheapy timing chain that retards valve timing about 6 degrees. So now that I put that in, it's just only going to advance timing, and I don't even know if they timed it correctly or if they just did it by ear. But anyways, yeah, looks like I can use the original alternator, but we'll see. The auto parts store, we cross-referenced it between a 69 and a 70, and it came out the same part number. However, the pulley might be different. I'm hoping, I know the 70 has just a single roll pulley, but I'm hoping I can just leave that on there. I don't feel like hunting down any more parts. I'm waiting on the correct lower radiator hose, because the opening on the original water pump would have gone straight out to the right 90 degrees, and this one goes down at a 45. Also, I remade the fuel line. The guys that put in the last one, they had it looped way around here and going along the valve cover and just going in there. That's alright, but it just looks unsightly. So I couldn't find any pictures online, but I had an old book for a 72 Fords, but when you look in the pictures, you can tell just by the water pump it was for a 69 or older. And it showed the fuel line curved pretty similar to this, and I know I had to keep the bends real tight, because if we put air conditioning back on here, we won't be able to get to these bolts real easy, so it has to be nice and tight. This part was easy, but when you get up to the manifold, it's really tight in there. But it doesn't touch. It looks like it touches, but it doesn't. There's some movement in there. But if you so much as mess with the rubber hose that goes from it to the carburetor, it could move and then start touching the manifold. But I'm hoping everything will work out fine. This is about the way it showed it in the book. And I don't really like having hacked up fuel lines. I like it being as it would have been from factory. Especially, you know, when you still have the original carburetor. It's just, why have it a mess? Didn't take real long to make that, But it's just, you know, you have to be patient. Oh, also you have to reuse this fitting going into the water pump. That was easy. I mean, I sort of cheated. I used an impact to take it out. Not everyone has an impact, but I do. So, yeah, it took a 27mm socket. Oh, and obviously I had to disconnect the air conditioning to get to all this. Interesting thing about these is they have these valves. You can just remove them, and you just turn them all the way forward, because it's almost like sort of like a spigot on a house. Because you know, if you ever take one of those apart, there's like a seal in there, and it just sort of butts up against it, and that's what stops the flow of water. Well, in this case, it's what stops the flow of refrigerant. And it's actually a lot like that in commercial reefer units, you know, for delivering groceries to supermarkets and stuff. The conversion actually is doesn't seem all that complex. People make it sound like it's a big deal, but the only real big deal is just forking up the money for the brackets. Because after 71, it seems like they changed the brackets on Lincolns, but I think there's other Ford products afterwards. But you know, it'd be like probably sedans and stuff. So I guess they're out there. It's hard to find the brackets. eBay can only help you out so much. I had to go to Lincoln Land to get my parts. But yeah, so I did use a new water pump and a new harmonic balancer. The pulleys are used. Pulleys don't generally go bad, so I just got used. Obviously there's going to be some rust in between the grooves, but once it runs a while, those will clean up. But looks like everything's working out good so far. This bolt hole is kind of questionable to me, but the bolt did go in there and it tightens up. It just it feels loose inside the threads, but it does tighten up. So I might just put it in there with some thread lock or some, I don't know, but I want to put something there to help it to hold. But everything else is going well so far. I have to work out something for a power steering cooler. I did see one on eBay. I didn't bid on it in time, so I'm going to have to jury-rig something. I don't think it even needs the power steering cooler, but I'm not going to take any chances. Ford surprise me all the time. I'm actually a GM mechanic. You know, I'm a GM guy. I don't really know much about Fords, but every time I see a failure with Ford, it's something that surprises me. But we'll see how it goes.